Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. We sure appreciate you guys coming on with us, and it's always fun. And we'll wait to say hello to a few friends before we get started this morning. Let's see who's going to come up number one. I'm always, the bets are on. Michael, Sandy, you guys are. Jocelyn, how are you? Andrea from Niagara Falls. Jude from Troy, New York. Nice to have you on. And Janice from Brampton. Right at the top, guys. Madeleine, how are you? From Kippawa, Quebec. Rain Cloud. Fran, Orangeville, good morning. Kevin, there you are from Oshawa. And Bonnie from Little Britain. Nellie, how are you? Guys, sorry about yesterday. Wendy, Deb, nice to have you on. Thanks for your patience, guys. Marlene and Denise from Oakville, how are you? Donna from Park Hill, good morning, Donna. Karen, nice to have you guys. Nick is back from her trip. Milika, Norma, and John, Sheridan, Wyoming. How are you, John? Arlene, Dave, good morning from Cardiff. Joanne, Berks Falls. Denise, Chatham, Kent. Wendy from London. We love you, Wendy's. Diane, LaSalle. Cheryl, West Virginia. Bruno, and Mary and Brenda Bancroft. Hello, Veronica. Guys, we really appreciate you guys. Catherine, sorry about all the technical. Kevin says he forgives me. Wanda from Virginia. So West Virginia and Virginia. And Francis and Dorothy. PEI. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Sharon from Kansas, good morning. Kansas, Yolande, bonjour. April, good morning. Denise, we love you, love you, love you. And Helga. So, Heather, Mira, Mishi. No, it's not. Miramichi is how you say it. Manitoulin Island, who was that? Kristen, Saskatchewan. Sandra. And Dave, good morning. Oh, Dave's saying hello to Kevin. Nativity, where's Brahim? Trish from Lindsay. And Carol from West Virginia. Thanks for coming on. Sue, we love you. Sherry, Mrs. Cheryl, I could sing. Yvonne Petawawa. One more. Patricia from Florida. Okay, so yesterday, before, and guys, I found out what was wrong. I had to get it fixed, okay? So unfortunately, it just cut me right off and I couldn't get back on because I was just hoping to come back on, but I couldn't do it. Anyway, apparently the problem is fixed. We'll see. I never trust anything that I have to lay my hands on. But anyway, so let's talk lactobacillus this morning, okay? What is it? What am I talking about? Well, your friendly bacteria. And there's one specific strain that I want to talk to you about first, and then we'll do a little recap of what we did yesterday, and then I'm going to expound a little wee bit this morning on your friendly bacteria, okay? So this is a study that came out. Now, again, let's go back to sourdough bread, okay? So how do you make sourdough bread? Okay? Old-fashioned bread, okay? Now, so if you, again, I mentioned this yesterday, just repeating, if you buy sourdough bread in a store, be careful. Read the ingredients because a lot of times they're shortcutting the process. when my wife makes sourdough bread, I said, oh, I guess the lab is open now. Meaning that it's like you're in a laboratory. And what did it take? About 3 weeks to get a batch of sourdough? Anyways, I used to laugh. I said, oh, you're back in the lab. What are you doing? Sourdough bread. Okay? The real sourdough bread. And anyway, back to sourdough bread. It does have a bacteria in there, and it's called Lactobacillus reuteri. Okay? Lactobacillus reuteri. And by the way, it's one of my favorite strains because I've done a lot of work with Lactobacillus reuteri. And anyway, the study, okay, so that's the prevalent friendly bacteria that's in sourdough bread. That makes it good for you. Now, again, we put a little asterisk, okay? We put a little asterisk. If you're in the 93% of metabolic syndrome people in the world, North America, 93% of the population, that means those people that have any form of metabolic syndrome, meaning they have trouble with insulin, and they have a condition called insulin resistance that is related to every chronic disease that you can think of. Okay? If you're in that category, I'm telling you, even though it's sourdough bread, even though it's real sourdough bread, I want you to be careful. Now, it doesn't spike your insulin like ordinary bread. You know what I say about bread? It's just sugar molecules holding hands. It's going to turn to sugar rapidly, and you need a lot of insulin. Okay, so that's why I love bread, but, okay, so sourdough, I just want to put a little asterisk beside what I'm saying so that you understand. Because I don't want everybody going off and saying, when you're on the reset, you can eat sourdough bread. No, you can't. Okay? No, you can't. But real sourdough bread, it is better for you. Okay? So let me just say that. But why am I saying that? Well, because I want to talk about the bacteria strain on your side, part of your it should be part of your microbiome. Let me talk about that. That particular bacteria. Listen to this. If you don't believe in God, I don't know what to tell you when you listen to this. Okay? I don't know what to tell you to convince you that this could just happen by chance. I'm sorry. No way. Okay? Anyway. Lactobacillus reuteri leaves a woman's intestine in the 3rd trimester, actually in the 9th month of pregnancy. Listen to this, guys. It travels through the bloodstream and ends up on a mummy's nipple. Come on. I'm not kidding you. In the 9th month, lactobacillus bacteria gets into the bloodstream and ends up on mummy's nipple. Holy smoke. To do what? Okay? Protection for the baby and protection for mummy. This guys has been researched, okay? It's incredible. Did we know this? When I was in school in 1970, did we know? Listen, actually, let me say this. When I was in school in the 1970s and taking a couple of thousand hours of nutrition, you know what? Even then, now, there was 2 schools about breastfeeding in the 70s. Now there's no 2 schools anymore. There's only 1 school. What do I mean? Well, back then, formula was coming out. And the powers to be in the nutrition industry were saying that because formula was fortified, it was actually better than mummy's milk. Certainly more convenient and better. I'm not kidding you. And if you're my age, and you can remember back in the early 70s, 60s, late 60s, early 70s, they were encouraging moms not to breastfeed, but to bottle feed. Okay? True story. Now that ship has sailed. They don't even talk about, I know there's still formula around, and but there isn't a doctor in the world, at least I haven't talked to one, that wouldn't agree that breastfeeding is the best thing you can do for babies. I mean, the research is so overwhelming, I don't even think there's a discussion about it anymore, okay? So there we go, okay? This is why I want to tell you. But one of the reasons, and we didn't even know this, is that L. reuteri, that bacteria, that friendly bacteria that's on your side, leaves the gut, travels to the nipple of mummy, and mummy, okay, what they've shown with L. reuteri, okay, babies that get that L. reuteri, big decreases, listen to what I'm going to say, in autism, ADHD, asthma, diabetes, cancer, and SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. The numbers are astounding for babies that are breastfed. And look, I know there's lactoferrin, there's colostrum that mommy gives to baby, all that. But I'm telling you, this bacteria is so powerful that it gives that baby a real boost to their immune system and their mental health and protection from autism. And I'm telling you, I'm just reading you the stats. And then what it also does, listen to this, because we didn't know that. Why? We didn't know why. We knew that this was true, this statement. A woman that breastfeeds, her risk of breast cancer is, it's almost tenfold the protection just by breastfeeding from breast cancer. And now we know why. Because of Lactobacillus reuteri. How do you like that? How do you like them there, apples? No, guys, I'm always astounded what I don't know. I don't even know who I was telling the other day, like how many hours a day I spend reading. Like I am reading, studies, articles, trying to keep up to date, just, and oftentimes Tony Jr. and I don't know how many conversations we have on health. He was sending me something this morning and incredible about cortisol and melatonin. I'll bring it to you after, okay? Not today, okay? I will do a little It's amazing. Okay. Anyway, Lactobacillus reuteri, the same bacteria in sourdough bread, leaves mommy's gut in the 9th month, heads to mommy's nipple, and helps baby, helps mommy. You got, there's some things that blow my socks off. I used to get the girls laughing in the office because I said, that blows my socks off. That research or that study or that article. Because it just, wow. It wows me. This, guys, wows me. That's how exciting it is. Okay? Now, okay? I haven't finished yet. Okay. Now, if you've been online, and maybe you've seen this and maybe you haven't, but I've read a lot and I've had a lot of people ask me this question. Dr. Martin, what about ivermectin? Okay? Ivermectin really got press, and a lot of it bad press, during the virus, during COVID. Okay? A lot of bad press because people didn't want people to use it. Medicine generally poo-pooed it. They didn't want it. And there's nobody making money on ivermectin. It's very inexpensive. Horse dewormer. It's a parasite cleanser. Okay? Medication. And anyway, I think if you probably heard of it. And there are doctors out there, okay, that say, some of them very credible, that almost every cancer you can think of is caused by parasites. Parasites. Okay? And do I disagree with that? Look, I brought to you many a time the idea that almost every cancer, every tumor is fungal. It's a yeast. Now, in my office, in my practice days, I saw a lot of parasites, okay, either through a stool analysis or blood analysis. Parasites, saw a lot of them, okay? Treated people for parasites, a lot of that, okay? So is it yeast? Fungal? I know oncologists that believe that. Is it parasites, cancer? A lot of, and what they're saying, okay, is the tumor is mistaken. Like they think it's a cancer tumor and they treat it as such. But a lot of people are saying, oh no, that's a parasite sac. It's their eggs. And that's why they're talking about ivermectin. Okay? So when you ask me about ivermectin, well, that's where I just want to give you a little bit of background on that. Okay? Now, what am I saying? Okay? What am I saying? Why am I bringing up parasites and ivermectin? And by the way, okay, now don't shoot the messenger. Okay? I wrote about this years ago in a book. I can't remember which one. I probably did it in a couple of books. Don't sleep with your pets. You know, I know Fido, you really love your dog, and worse, cats for parasites. Okay? You're sleeping with the enemy. And what do I mean by that? Not the cat. Your cat's not the enemy. I know I told you the cat story before. Because I can't help myself. Whenever I see a cat, I think of the cat story. Okay? You guys heard this one? Yeah, lady in the office, she had severe allergies, okay? Because I was looking at her blood. Even before she came in, I was looking at her test results, and she had all these mast cells, MAST cells, white cells that release histamine, okay? So I knew she had a lot of allergies. So when she come in, I said, you got a lot of allergies. She said, yeah, that's why I'm here. I said, okay, what are you allergic to? She said, my cat. I said, get rid of it. She said, I can't. And I died. I was on the floor laughing. I said, well, I can't help you if you don't get rid. She said, Doc, I can't get rid of my cat. I said, well, I can't help you then. Anyway. Oh, who hates the story? Tina. Come on. It's a true story. Anyway, you got to have a sense of humor. Now, okay. I didn't say to get rid of your pet unless you're allergic to it. I said don't sleep with it because of parasite. Now, back to the program. Okay, you guys. I can't win. Okay. L-Reuteri, guys. L-Reuteri and another one, L-rhamnosus, are two friendly bacteria that are essential to fight yeast and to fight parasites. We already know what L-Reuteri does in terms of boosting the immune system and protection against cancer. A woman that has breastfeeds, because of that L-Reuteri, they get a protection against breast cancer. But I'm going to tell you that L-Reuteri helps with because if cancer is yeast or fungal, or parasites, or both. If they're at the root of that, that's why I always say, I don't have my shirt on this morning, this one, but I do have one of my shirts on, but one of them says, don't feed the bears. What do I mean by that? Don't give parasites sugar, because that's what they live on. They live on junk, and so do yeast. Don't feed them. Don't feed them. So, Lactobacillus reuteri. Isn't that incredible, guys? Okay? Incredible. Now, okay? I had done this earlier. In 2024, I gave you a story for the flu season. I got a notice yesterday, okay? I don't know, the government's got my number. Or the health unit's got my number. They're telling me to go get a COVID shot, okay? Now, I don't want to go into vaccines, okay? I try and avoid it so I don't get canceled, okay? You know, I'm very opinionated, but I've always told you, I told you through the pandemic, I'll tell you every flu season, I'll tell you over and over and over and over again. If you want to get a vaccine, that's up to you. But what I want, no matter what, is for people to take care of their immune system. Okay? Take care of your immune system. You have to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you. You do it. Okay? You do it, as one of my grandchildren used to tell me. You do it. Okay? You do it. Take care of yourself. One of the best ways you can, and this is going back to bacteria, friendly bacteria, L. reuteri, L. rhamnosus, those two strains are the best strains. Okay, we have them in our immune building formula in our probiotic. Okay, the L. reuteri, L. rhamnosus strains. Why? To build your immune system, because they fight cold and viruses too. The cold virus. It's one of the best ways to build your immune system. L. reuteri and L. rhamnosus. Okay? Now there's other strains, and different strains do different things. Really important. I love, you guys know this, broad spectrum probiotics. Every one of our strains takes 8 weeks to ferment and create. And there's a reason we do it, because we want those strains to get past. I tell you, I said this for a mountain of years. Most probiotics, they can't even get through the stomach. They don't get past that acidity in the stomach. You got to have a soil-based probiotic to do that, and one that is so hardy. The advantage of they last forever, and you can check the bacteria, and months and months after they've been put in a capsule, you can check them, and they actually grow. They multiply even in the capsule, and you end up with more than 50 billion. I love probiotics, guys. You know that. And I've been saying this again for a long time. Everybody and their dog needs to be on probiotics. We live in a world, I talked to you about plastics. Like, do you know the other day that even, I found it fascinating. Again, I like it because I don't agree with everything, but I really like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I do, because he's going against the grain. And you have to understand, I've been around a long time. Nobody does that. Nobody has challenged the FDA. Nobody has challenged Health Canada. Because it's all surrounded by the pharmaceutical industry, and boy, oh boy, do they protect their own. And, their people are interchangeable. The pharmaceutical companies pay Health Canada, and the pharmaceutical companies pay the FDA. They sponsor them. They're a big part of their budget. And then what they want in return is people on their board of the pharmaceutical. They want them on the FDA and Health Canada. We give you all this money. That's what we want in return. We want our people on your advisory board. We want our people on them. Well, no wonder they don't like vitamins and they don't like minerals. They want to control the whole thing. And they don't want anything natural. They want something that you can patent and make money off of. And you got to go against that. But what I like, Kennedy said it the other day, he was talking about the amount of plastic. And you've heard it on this program, plastic from Mount Everest to we were just talking about the placenta. Do you know that L. reuteri helps? And L-rhamnosus helps to get rid of plastic in your body. Besides your glutathione. You think that's important? We're accumulating a credit card and a half a week on average. And you can't escape. You can help, but you can't escape it unless you're planning on leaving the planet. They're everywhere. The microplastics are everywhere. And then I read a study the other day. Let me bring it to you here on plastics can get into the carotid artery. Okay? The carotid artery. Very dangerous. They go everywhere. It's incredible. You want to be able to protect yourself from that. And one of the ways, keep your liver clean. You know how I talk about that all the time. And you want your lymphatics to work for your brain, but for the arteries, probiotics. Incredible. Incredible. L-reuteri, L-rhamnosus, and others. But those two I talked about for a long time. Anti-parasitical, anti-cancer, antifungal, anti-plastic. Amazing. Okay, guys. Now, tomorrow is what? Q&A. And when I do it, I'll probably be on the road, okay? So hopefully no technical difficulties. Okay. Guys, we love you dearly, sincerely. Send in your questions to Martin Clinic, info@martinclinic.com, okay? Thanks for your patience. You guys have been so good to me. Okay? When I go wrong and I touch the wrong button or something breaks down and I don't know how to fix it, ugh! But you guys have patience. Okay, we love you. We'll talk to you soon.